We're doing 20-30 minutes of side split training starting right now, and we are going to be doing 9 moves, and 3 of them are going to be a nice active warm up that will be useful for anybody at any time because it's good for your joints. And then 5 stretches that are targeted specifically towards the muscles that you need to use when you are doing the side splits. And then finally, we'll close with a quick set of horse stance strength training, I guess, to strengthen some of the muscles that you need to use in the side split and have control in the side split. Okay, I'm gonna just double check that my mic is on, and we are gonna get started. I'm going to, real quickly, off camera, remove some socks, because otherwise I will slip. I recommend you do the same. And I'm gonna get some random charging cables out of the way so I don't bust my butt. All right. All right. Let's take a quick look at the viewership. Hey, somebody just popped in. Awesome. We're going to start it with 20-30 minutes of side split stretching. We're going to start right now. We're going to get started with the hip cars. Hip cars stand for controlled articulated. Wow, I'm super off balance. I just got off a lot of flying and carrying a lot of luggage. So my leg muscles are a little bit tired and wobbly. My calves are very tired. That's just my excuse for why I'm off balance. All right. Hip cars are controlled articulated rotations for the hip. And what that means is we are trying to get our legs and specifically our hips through the full range of motion that you can access from that hip joint using your muscles. And if you don't know what the exercise is, we're lifting the knee as high as possible. We're going to open up the hip as wide as possible. We're going to try and rotate and bring that ankle up, hiding the ankle behind the knee. And then we're going to pull the whole leg down and back so that the hip flexor is getting a little bit of stretch and the hamstring and the glutes are working on the way down. All right. We've already done like 5. Let's do 5 more. 4 and 5. Hey, Anthony. Hey, Avery, Ella. Welcome. Thanks for coming in and saying hi, everybody. I appreciate it because I have no idea who's on when the lives are going unless you comment. All right. That was hip cars on one side, so we're going to switch to the other side and we're going to reverse all of them. All right. So switching sides. My right side is my stronger leg. I have better balance. High knee. Open up the hips. Bring the ankle up and down and back. I'm going to do a little skip over here so I don't kick the curtains. And we're going to do that 10 times. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. High knee, open, ankle, down and back. You might be able to tell my right leg is way better at balancing than my left leg. I think this is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, we're going to reverse it, but I'm going to check the comments real quick. Am I doing yoga? I have done some yoga in the past, but I'm not actively doing yoga now. And this isn't really yoga. We're not going through yoga poses, and it's not structured like a yoga class. Hi, Sebastian. Is mostly focused on working the hips with the ultimate goal of getting a side split. But pretty much every stretch is super useful to get your hips warmed up, to get your hips stretched out, to stretch out the muscles here. These are called the adductors on the inner thighs, and to get a lot more hamstring mobility, which pretty much everybody needs. And also teaching you how to control this hip muscle and helping you to figure out how to arch or not arch or straighten or flatten. Those are all different ways to describe how you're using your low back. And those are all super important skills for if you're trying to lift stuff off the floor. That's heavy. It's useful for understanding how to get your hamstrings to work well if you spend a lot of time sitting because you drive a lot or you're working at the office, working in front of a computer. And so I call it splits on the side, splits training, because when you get really good at everything, the splits start getting closer and closer. But in general, it's just really good work for the hips. Um, yeah, that's all the describing I can think of. So let's keep going with the hip cars. Hip cars that we're doing right now is all about using the muscles in the hip and the leg to get that leg to move as well as you can get it to move. And that means trying to get the leg to go through the whole range of motion. I'm going a little bit fast, but we're reversing what we just did, which means we're going to start by bringing the leg down and back. Then we're going to lift the leg. We're going to bring the ankle back down. Then we're going to keep the knee as high as we can and bring it forward. So that was the side view. Let's do it from the front. Down and back. Sideways. Ankle down. Front. All right. We're doing 10 of those. And yeah, thank you everybody for coming in and saying hi. I appreciate it. We're doing 10 of those. I think I already did like 5, but let's keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you are having balance issues and balance is a challenge, feel free to grab a chair, hold on to the chair. Feel free to do this against the wall so you can hold on to the wall for a little bit of support. There is no shame in doing what makes it work, right? The goal is to work on the hips, and if balance is getting in the way, grab something for that. All right, last leg. Let's go. Down and back, sideways, ankle, front. 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 I think that's 5. Let's keep going. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's lots of ways to do hip cars. If you just want to warm up your joints, doing them fast is really good and fine for most of the time. If you're really trying to strengthen your muscles at the end range, so you're trying to bring your leg up and you're trying to get a little bit higher, might be helpful to spend more time in just that position that you're trying to increase the range in, and just give it a shot. All right, hip cars are finally done. Let's get into elephant walks. Elephant walks are a fun movement-based way to work on your hamstrings for the most part, but we're going to do a version that also works your outer glute, and we'll just get into it. So we start by getting to an L shape-ish, and we bend one knee. And kind of do this thing I call a sassy hip, where we put a lot of weight into the other hip with the straightened leg. So one bent, one straight, and a little bit more weight into the hip with the straight leg. Now, we want to bring the belly button down. I say belly button because the belly button is closest to the hip. We want the hip to fold, and that will cause you to feel the stretch in your hamstring. All right. If you're ready to get this to the next level of difficulty, I want you to rotate your chest, open it towards the direction of your straightened leg. So in this case, my left leg is bent, my right leg is straight, and I'm rotating my chest to the right and opening up the chest. I'm starting to feel it here in this outer upper butt part. If you bring your chest down and your belly button down, you should feel it even more in this upper butt part. All right. We're going to switch to the other side. So the right leg was straight. Now the right leg is bent. The left leg was bent. Now the left leg is straight. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to rotate, try to bring the belly button down and the chest down. If you want to make it a little bit more yoga-like, we can lift the arms up, sort of look at the hand and see where it is, and use that as a guideline for how much you want to open your chest. Whew. All right, let's keep going. We're doing 10 of these. I like to do the first couple real slow because the hamstrings, especially my hamstrings, they need a little bit more warming up. And if we get too aggressive right at the beginning, it'll just be uncomfortable. There's no reason to make it uncomfortable. We're here to take care of our bodies, and the way I take care of my body which might be different for you, is I take the first couple nice and slow. Oh, my left hamstring has an old injury from, at this point, probably 10 years ago. But I feel it when I get into a hamstring stretch to this day. And that is one of the reasons why I start the hamstring stretching a little bit slower and take my time with it. All right, I think I've done 3. And I think I'm a little bit more warmed up, so I'm going to pick up this pace. Here's 4. If you don't want to do all of that twisting that we did in the example, you can definitely focus on bringing your belly button and your chest down as your priority, and that definitely works your hamstrings. You still get a little bit of this outer glute if you're doing the sassy hip thing I was talking about, where you put your weight into the straightened leg. And I think we're at 7, 8, 9. And for the last one, I'll do the rotation. Open up the chest, point in the direction of the straightened leg. Look at your hand, lift your hand up and point to something. And last one, last rep. That's 10. All right, elephant walk. If you took the opportunity to feel how low you were able to get in that front fold before we started, I want you to retest and see if you can get lower now than before. You should be able to, but I could be wrong. Okay, all right. And as elephant walk, we're going to do the last sort of warm-up exercise right now, and that last one is called a Cossack switch. What we're going to do is get into a wide stance, point your toes and knees basically 45, 60 degrees out to either side, and I want you to start dropping down a little bit, pointing your knee and toes in the same direction. Try to get as low as you can to one side. If it's uncomfortable in this hip, you can always come up a little higher. If it's uncomfortable in the knee, you can always come higher. If your Achilles is feeling very, very, very tight, you can always come up higher. When you do get as low as you can get, if you're feeling tension here in the hip, I want you to try rotating the feet so that instead of having your foot down, it's just resting on the heel, and your toes, your knee is pointing up. This is called external rotation in the leg, because your leg is rotating out from your body. And to do the switch part of the Cossack switch, we're trying to keep our hips as low as we can go and go to the other side. Rest on that side. It's okay if your heel comes up. We want to work on, especially if you want to strengthen your balance, bring and keeping that heel low, but it's not incredibly important right now because this is a movement, and moving means we get to adjust, we get to play around, we get to do stuff. All right, so we can keep going from side to side, nice and gentle. We don't need anything jerky or explosive. And if anything feels uncomfortable at any point at all, pause, reassess. If you're feeling like you're a little bit off balance all the time, feel free to grab something, maybe a stool, a coffee table, in front of you to hold on to. And this is number 5. We are done with Cossack switches. It's time for the actual stretches. I know. We've been taking our sweet time with the warm-up. And part of that is because I've been flying all day, so I'm extra stiff and my muscles have not moved very much for quite a number of hours today. I think I'm feeling good, so let's get into the stretches. The first stretch is incredible for beginners. I think it's my favorite hamstring stretch. You start by standing up straight, taking a step forward with the leg you want to stretch, and then you throw the hips back. We were talking about sassy hips earlier. I want you to think about this as a sassy hip thing again, where all of the weight is really centered on that one leg. And the reason why we do this is we're trying to get gravity to give us as much help as possible. And by getting our chest horizontal, gravity is doing a lot of the work of pulling us down. And now we can determine how intense the stretch is based on where our hips are. All right. So you see, if I lean my hips back, the angle gets more steep, and that means the hamstring stretch is more intense. All right. From here, I want you to check if you are feeling out of balance. Grab a coffee table, a stool, a chair to make sure you're balanced. Otherwise, you can widen your stance, however that may be, and take a couple of deep breaths here in this stretched position. See if you can relax a little bit. And then we're going to do 30-second hold where we're applying steady pressure. We're trying to bring the belly button down to the thigh. Again, same reason as before, the belly button is very close to the hip. So if you focus on where the belly button is, that will help shift the hip down. If you focus on the head, notice my head could be here, my head could be here, could be anywhere, and it makes no difference in where the hip is. All right. The hip controls the intensity of the hamstring stretch. All right. Whew. Lots of talking, lots of explaining. We're going to do our 30 seconds. You ready? Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. All right. I think that might have been one of my best hamstring stretches. I'm going to have to check the video later. All right. Switch to the other side. Let's do the same thing. Stand up straight. Take a step forward with the leg you want to stretch. Throw the hips back. Control that angle. Try to bring your belly button down to the thigh. Widen your stance for balance or hold on to something. And let's go. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. Make sure to breathe. If you are not breathing, you are not relaxing, and it's very hard for your stretch to get deeper if you're all tensed up. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Remember, belly button to the thigh. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. Oh man, hamstring stretch is done. We get to take a small break, sort of. We're going to get into the butterfly. Sit on your butts. Put your feet together, pull the legs together and in towards you. Your knees will probably naturally shoot up, and we want to control it with muscle power. All right, what that means is we're going to flex the glutes. We're going to flex those muscles on the outer thighs and try to bring the knees down like we have a rope tied to the knees pulling into the ground. All right, it helps if you hold on to your feet when you do this, but feel free to experiment. All right, flexing the glutes, flexing the outer thighs. I'm using muscles to pull my knees down. You should be able to immediately notice that, at least for me, my knees are much, much, much closer to the ground. All right, next up, I want you to try to fold. Same thing again. You're trying to bring your belly button to the floor, and you want to feel that stretch in the groin, folding at the hips. That's it. Not that much explanation for this one. Let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Remember, flexing the glutes, flexing the outer thighs to pull your knees down, trying to fold your belly button down. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Whew. All right. I do the butterfly pretty intense for me, so I always need a couple of seconds to move around a little bit as we transition out of the butterfly. Oh. All right. Next stretch, we're taking up a couple notches of intensity here by getting to the pancake. And The pancake that we're going to do is called the standing pancake. And for the same reasons why we do the standing hamstring stretch, we're doing the standing pancake. It looks a little bit like this. I'm going to do it at a slight angle so you can see sort of what the side view is going to look like. We are going to take a wide stance, similar to Cossack switch, but we're going to open, 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 open. And once it gets uncomfortable, you can stop. You can come back just a little bit. And I'm going to rotate a little bit so I'm not standing on the carpet. That might slip underneath me. I want you to focus on folding at the hips. All right. Same thing that we were doing in the hamstring stretch, except now your legs are spread apart. We're stretching the adductors. These are the muscles on the inner thighs here. We're stretching the lower back, stretching the hamstrings, and this is probably one of the best exercises for the side split. And it just works so many different muscles all at the same time. And it's hard. All right. Once you are folding down and your legs are as wide as they can get while staying relatively comfortable, I want you to breathe and try to bring your belly button down to the ground. All right, same thing. It's always the belly button and it's always the ground. If you're feeling real good, feel free to grab your calves or your leg muscles and see if you can give yourself a little bit of a pull to pull yourself down into a lower position. Other than that, that's all the information you know. It's 30 seconds. Let's go. 30, 29, 28. Remember to breathe. 27, 26. This is an intense stretch, so you might feel a lot of discomfort in the hamstrings and the adductors. 21, 20. But if you're feeling real pain, like something incredibly sharp, take a break, stop. Let's take a look at what that might be. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ooh, pancake. I always need lots and lots of time to recover from the pancake. I'm gonna do some slow standing up from that squat and come over to check the comments while I rest. Oh, we got 2 more stretches and we got 2 rounds of strengthening, which is basically 4 total moves of 30 seconds apiece left. We're doing good. All right, next stretch is the pigeon. And that basically looks like bring our ankle up to the opposite hip and folding our chest down. All right. I'm going to do this on the floor so that gravity can help me. You know, my favorite words, gravity, folding at the hips, belly button down to the ground. We are trying to bring that leg perpendicular to the body and trying to keep this hip relatively low to the ground. If you're having some problems with that, feel free to spend the first couple of seconds moving around here to loosen up these hip muscles. Next, I want you to bring your chest down to the ground without lifting your butt up super high. All right. Take breaths, relax. You should feel a lot of tension here in the outer hip. You might be focusing a lot of energy on trying to keep your head up off the ground because your floor is dirty or something. That's totally normal, but try to relax the lower back here. All right, that's it. 30 seconds. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. Whew. Sit on up. Switch to the other side. I like to just turn around on my butt and get into the opposite side. Same thing. Feel free to move your hips a little bit while you're here. You can try to stand up. You can just focus on doing a little bit of mobility. Either way. All right, let's bring that leg perpendicular to the body. Try to keep the hips low. Bring the chest down. Take some nice deep breaths. And 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. I like to hold my feet in place because my feet will naturally want to rotate in, and I want to prevent that from happening to get the maximum stretch and not the easiest stretch. So if it looks like I'm at an angle, that's what my arm is doing. I've been talking for a long time. Let's call it 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, pigeon is done. We got the last stretch. The last stretch is the hardest one. We're doing the side splits. And then we're almost done. All right, to get into side split, before I do that, I'm going to just check the chat. Hi, Abdaz. We are doing the same setup as the pancake. We're just going down and opening up the legs. When your legs get a little bit uncomfortable in the hips, I want you to focus on putting your hands down. And if you aren't this low and you need to put your hand on a stool or something, totally grab it. When you get somewhere around this deep, and it varies for everybody depending on your hip and bone structure, I want you to focus when it gets uncomfortable on rotating your leg up. And I'm going to scoot over here so you can see what that looks like. My feet are currently pointing towards you guys in front of me. When I say externally rotate, I want you to point your toes up into the sky, but I don't want just your feet to point. I want your whole leg to point. So my knees are pointing up, my quad muscles are pointing up, everything is pointing up. If you are doing this, it should rotate your leg bone into a different position in relation to the hip socket and let you get a little bit deeper into the stretch. And if you sit back into your hips, you should just drop a little bit deeper into the stretch depending on where you are in your flexibility journey. All right. Once you are as deep as you think you're going to get, we're going to start our 30 seconds of side splits. Ready? 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right, lean forward and try to crawl on up out of that split position. I like to fall forward onto my forearms and then slowly regain some function in the hips and pull the legs back together. And I get into this kneeling position here. The side split is a very intense stretch, and you're at end range of motion where your muscles are generally the weakest. So it's totally normal if you're struggling to get out of it. I recommend, if you are feeling like getting out of it was quite difficult, put a little bit of cushioning around you, a couple pillows, some towels, just so you can absorb some impact when you're trying to, crawl your way out of the weird position that you're stuck in. All right, that's a side split. We have a little bit of strengthening, and the strengthening that we're doing is horse stance. Before I get into that, I'm going to just double check to see if anything else has come in. Any questions? No, just people saying hi. Hi, Linnea, Maninin. Let me know if I vastly butchered that. Okay, So the horse stance we do is a little bit different than a typical martial arts horse stance. We're doing this purely for opening up the hips for the side split stretch, right? So what I'm looking for is to keep the knees over the toes, point them all out as wide as we can. So I'll show you it from the side. Bring the butt down, but my knees are pretty much over my toes. If it's like this, that's bad. If you're way out here, you can afford to widen the stance. So try your best to keep the knees relatively close to right above the toes. And it's difficult. It's, as you get more tired, your knees are going to want to drop inwards. What we're really working on is pulling using this outer thigh muscle, flexing the glutes, contracting the glutes to open up the hips with muscle power. And that's part of what we're strengthening in the horse stance. All right. If you're doing this right, if you just focus on trying to open up your hips as much as you can, as if you're trying to pull your knees back, and you focus on trying to stand up as straight as possible, I'll probably do most of the work and you can forget about everything else. Stand up straight, open up your hips. All right, let's go. We're gonna start 30 seconds in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1, let's go. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. If you're shaking, that's normal. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. If you need to make it easier, you can always bring your hips up. 3, 2, 1, 0. Come on up. Rest, relax, walk around, move a little bit. Oh, we're going to take a small break, shake out the legs. And then we're going to do one more of these. We're going to wrap up for today. That's it. We're almost done. There's one last exercise. Whew. We got 3 people on. I hope you're enjoying the live side split series. If you haven't already, throw a comment into the chat so I know who's on, I guess. And if you have any specific questions or if there's anything I explained well that you'd like me to try again, let me know. We do this pretty much daily. I've been a little bit bad because I'm traveling and there's been flight delays and all sorts of other crazy things getting in the way. But in general, we try to do these for consistency every single day. And yeah, side splits are hard. The only way to make progress is consistency. So we try to show up and give the community a little space to have a friendly person lead in some side split stretches every single day. And you know, if you can't come in every day, that's totally fine. This isn't like an expectation. It's just to show you that somebody's working hard to try and help you get towards your goals and give you a little extra push to succeed in the side splits. All right, it's a lot of rambling. We got one last horse stance. Let's get ready. Get into position, widen the stance, drop the hips down, make sure your knees are more or less over your toes. Try to pull your legs and hips open. Try to stand up a little straighter. And 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. My knees are dipping inward, so I'm going to take a small step in. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Come on up. Whew. Wow, my legs are tired. I need to take a break. So I'm just going to stand perfectly still and not do anything for a couple seconds and talk to you from here. Sometimes I talk so much I forget to breathe. And that's not good. Make sure you're breathing when you're doing the stretches, when you're doing the exercises, because your body needs oxygen to do stuff. All right, let's see. It is 37 minutes into the hour. I think the video has been running for 35 minutes. We've gone a little bit longer than expected, but I think a couple of people that I haven't seen before popped in, so I want to be a little bit more thorough with the explanation. Thank you so much for coming in and practicing consistency with me today. I hope you enjoyed the side splits workout, and I hope to see you sometime soon.